Hey, it's Benjamin here from Beneficial Massive, where you, the masses, hopefully benefit from my reviews of video games of old and new, tech accessories of all sorts, and media including movie and TV show reviews. With the Capcom Collection on the original Xbox, it's pretty much self-explanatory. You get 22 of Capcom's legitimate classics all nicely bunched on a sweet one-disc collection for your arcade playing needs. It's a great installment for the Xbox, I reckon, or was a great installment, I should say. I mean, even if you have a modded Xbox with these arcade games at your fingertips, there's still some extra features that Capcom put on here to add that extra bit of fireball, which we'll get into in a moment. There's 3 Street Fighter 2 games that aren't actually the best picks out of Capcom's Street Fighter 2 lineup, and if you're asking why they didn't put the cream of the crop on the disc, then go check out the Street Fighter 2 Anniversary Collection that was also released on the original Xbox, and that might answer your question, but nonetheless, they are still fine Street Fighter 2 games in the grand scheme of things. The first game to shoot off on the list of games is the good old vertical scrolling shoot 'em up 1942, which was originally released in 1984 and is a must-have for any type of Capcom collection. The next 2 games are quite similar. We have 1943, The Battle of Midway, and 1943 Kai. The Battle of Midway is the sequel to 1942, released in 1987, and 1943 Kai is basically a more aggressive version of the Battle of Midway. 1943 Kai was released in 1987 too, alongside the family computer, also known as the Famicom, which made it exclusive to Japan only, but later a far more superior version was released on the PC Engine, so it's pretty darn sweet we get all 3 together here. The next game is Bionic Commando, which is a nice action platform arcade game which compared to the NES version is just way fucking better. So cheer in there. Commando is a run and gun vertically scrolling arcade game released in 1985, which was a pioneer in its own right, influencing a lot of later games. Exit X's is a vertically oriented scrolling shooter which was originally released as Savage Bees by Momentron. Next we have probably one of my favourite games ever made. It's definitely up there as it would be with heaps of people. It is Final Fight, the #1 classic beat-em-up originally released in 1989, where you can choose from 3 characters moving your way through a bunch of levels and killing a main boss at the end of each stage. Forgotten Worlds is a side-scrolling shoot-em-up released in 1988 and was the first game using Capcom's CP system. Ghosts and Goblins is a true favourite run-and-gun platformer released in 1985. Ghouls and Ghosts, which I tend to get mixed up with Ghosts and Goblins, just the name of course, but whatever. This baby was released in 1988 and was a sequel to Ghouls and Ghosts of course, and of course too it was ported to a number of other systems. Gunsmoke, released in 1985, was a vertical scrolling shooter. Legendary Wings is a fantasy-themed shoot-em-up game released by Capcom as a coin-operated video game in 1986. Next we have Mercs, originally released as Senjo no Akami 2. It is a 1990 top-down run-and-gun arcade game. Pirate Ship Higamuru is a maze video game released in 1984 as a coin-operated arcade game which is similar to Pengo. And of course we can't forget Pengo. Section Z is a side-view shoot-em-up released as a coin-operated video game in 1985. Sun Sun is an arcade video game released in 1984 and is the game I'm currently playing. And guess who Sun Sun looks similar to? Yep, you guessed it, Alex Kidd. There are a bunch of games on this collection that I haven't played a lot, so really enjoying new titles as well as old ones too. Sun Sun is like a shooting side-scrolling bubble kind of, and it's taking forever to beat. Bit of a challenge. Trojan is a side-scrolling action game originally released as a coin-operated video game in 1986. Vulgus is a vertically scrolling shooting video game developed and published in Japan in 1984. And that's all the games in the collection. Damn, it's a good solid bunch. Pretty happy with the purchase. This Capcom collection for Xbox was released in 2005 in North America and 2006 in Japan. And where I am in Australia too, it was released in 2006 also. There was a really great second volume which wasn't released for the Xbox in Australia and Japan, which sucked, but it was released for PS2, and also in America they got the second volume for the original Xbox. To add to Capcom's awesomeness, they put out 2 reloaded remix versions on the PSP. So if you have a PSP, having these 2 releases is a must for any collector or game enthusiast. And also they put out a small copy literally on the Game Boy Advance. I myself will be definitely getting both copies on the PSP and PS2. The PS3 and Xbox 360 even got releases called the Capcom Arcade Cabinet, which are recommended too. I totally love and am totally enjoying the Capcom collection for Xbox. I definitely recommend it for the collector or someone that might just want to play some old arcade games that they haven't played in a while, and if they have an original Xbox lying around. It's definitely a solid release, as I've just explained all the great games included. I saw the collection after getting back into the original Xbox, and I knew I had to obtain a copy, so I did. And I felt compelled to share it with you lovely people. I give the collection a 7.5 out of 10. I would have given an 8 or 9 if they put out volume 2 in Australia, which I wasn't happy about, but I do have a PS2 so I can get it for that. It's been wonderful talking to you today. Hope you're all sweet. I'll see you real soon. Please hit subscribe and like, and if you're enjoying my channel, thanks and be good. Peace.